Every morning you stick to your routine, and from the trees above, there's this entire social network just watching you, judging your every move. You open the back door at 7:14. You head to the same corner of the garden. You might glance up for a second, then just go about your day. You think you're the one watching them, right? But you're not. Let's try something you've probably never noticed. Next time you're in the yard while cockatoos are feeding, pay attention to the exact second they go quiet. I'm not talking about when they fly away or when they start alarm calling. I mean that moment right before when the noise just stops. That silence isn't fear, it's focus. Every head in that tree turns toward you at once. Their crests drop. The chewing stops. And for 2, maybe 3 seconds, it's like someone hit the mute button on the world. Here's the strange part, though. That pause isn't always the same. It's longer for a stranger. It's shorter for you. And if you've been hanging out in that yard for weeks, honestly, some of them won't even look up. They already know who you are. They've basically decided you aren't interesting enough to stop eating for. Think about that for a second. You didn't announce yourself. You didn't make a sound. You just walked outside and this collective social intelligence up there made a split-second decision about who you are, whether you're a threat, and if you're even worth monitoring today. That's not just instinct. That's something else entirely. And this is where it gets interesting. Researchers studying sulfur-crested cockatoos in the city found something they weren't even looking for. These birds weren't just reacting to people, they were categorizing them. They're building what some scientists call a social map. It's this living, constantly updating record of the humans in their territory. And I'm not talking about food sources or dangers. I'm talking about us. Specific individual humans. And the map? It's not just rough sketches. It's detailed. Studies have shown that cockatoos can actually tell us apart even when we're wearing the same clothes, walking at the same pace, and not even interacting with them. It's wild, right? The cues they're picking up aren't obvious. It's not about your height or your shirt color. It's way subtler. It's your gait, the way you swing your arms, how you transition from the shadows into the light, whether you make eye contact or try to act like you don't see them. Honestly, these birds are reading you just like a skilled profiler would read a room quickly, quietly, and without giving you a single clue that they're doing it. Most of us just walk outside every morning totally unaware that we're being filed away in their mental database. But it goes deeper than that. The recognition threshold. That point where a cockatoo stops seeing you as a potential threat and starts seeing you as just familiar is reached faster than almost any other bird in the city. I'm talking about, in some cases, less than 10 exposures, 10 mornings, 10 walks past the same tree. After that, you're not a stranger anymore. You're in their system. And the system has categories. There are the people who feed them, the ones who don't feed them but are at least predictable. Then there are the unpredictable ones, the people who slam doors, walk dogs on tight leashes, or make sudden movements. And then there are the people who at some point triggered an alarm. Those folks, they don't get forgotten. Scientists have watched cockatoos hold a grudge against specific people for weeks after just one startling event. One loud noise, one sudden gesture. You're flagged, probably for the rest of the season. So just think about how you move through your own yard. Do you check your phone while you walk? Do you switch up your route? Maybe you step outside in a hurry and clap your hands at a noise. Every single one of those behaviors is data. It's being recorded, interpreted, and this is the part people miss. It's being communicated to every other bird in that flock right now. Because here's the thing most people never realize. Cockatoos don't just recognize you as an individual. They actually talk about you. They tell each other who you are. Their signal system is way more sophisticated than just a basic alarm. When a bird in the canopy spots a human, that call isn't just a simple, safe, or dangerous. Researchers listening in on urban feeding sites found all these different call variations depending on who was walking up. If they know you, it's a short descending note. If you're a stranger, they let out a longer, sharper burst. And then there's this specific rapid-fire sequence. It honestly sounds like they're having a conversation that researchers think acts as a kind of social advisory. They aren't just saying, someone is coming. They're saying, here is the type of person that is coming. And the rest of the flock? They just react. If it's someone they recognize, they keep eating. If it's a stranger, they shift. They move to the outer branches. They keep eyes on you. This is real. Coordinated intelligence. It's built on a shared database of human personalities that the flock is literally building day by day, every single morning. You're not just a face they know. You are a profile they are discussing. And here's where it changes everything. We usually frame our relationship with city wildlife through the lens of survival. We think they do what they do just to find food or shelter or stay away from predators, like it's all just about keeping the lights on. But that doesn't really explain what these birds are doing. Look at the research on mimicry and how they manipulate their environment. It shows that their intelligence goes way beyond just surviving. It's pure calculated opportunism, systematic, patient, coordinated opportunism. In Sydney, researchers documented this wild behavior that's since been seen all over. Cockatoos learned how to open those heavy household rubbish bins. And it wasn't just one genius bird that figured it out. It spread. One bird learned, others watched, and the skill moved through the population along their social networks. Within a few years, there were these distinct bin-opening dialects, different techniques that changed from neighborhood to neighborhood. It's proof that the behavior wasn't just copied. It was refined, passed down, and adapted. They weren't just surviving in the city. They were learning to navigate our systems, our patterns, our trash, our predictability. Because they'd spent so much time watching us, they figured out how we work. They decoded our limitations before we even realized they were paying attention. And this is where you have to stop and ask yourself a different question. We always look at urban animals like they're just making do, like they're forced to adapt to our expansion, living in the gaps, a little bit diminished. But what if that's completely backwards? What if the cockatoo didn't adapt to the city? What if it looked at the city and saw an opportunity? A dense, predictable place full of resources, populated by slow, routine-bound creatures who always announce where they're going. And let's be honest, almost never look up. The cockatoo doesn't live in your suburb despite the humans. It lives there because of them. See, the thing is, humans are just predictable. We repeat ourselves. We leave food out. We stick to strict schedules. We get distracted by our phones. And we walk the exact same path every single morning. You're not the intelligent observer here. You're the subject. Let's be real about what that means. That bird in your tree right now, the one you probably just glanced at this morning, maybe even tossed a piece of bread to once or twice, it knows things about you that your own neighbors don't. It knows exactly what days you leave the house early. It knows if you tend to look up at the sky or keep your eyes on the ground. It knows if you're stressed or relaxed. It knows your routine, it knows when you're coming out, and it definitely knows if you're the kind of person who's likely to startle. It's been building this profile on you, quietly, systematically, and you never even knew it was happening. Then, it shared that data with every other bird in its network. You're already in the database. The only question now is, what category did they put you in? This is the part that I keep coming back to. For centuries, we've drummed this line in the sand. We thought we were the ones who watched and studied the natural world, while animals were just the subjects, kind of mindless, instinct-driven. But that line? It's not as clear as we thought. There's a creature living right above your roofline that's been studying you with the same persistence you think you're using on it. It's figured out your personality. It's shared those findings with the rest of its community. It's even tweaked its own behavior based on the version of you it's built from hundreds of tiny observations. You aren't just feeding a bird. You're negotiating every single day without even realizing it, with an intelligent observer that has spent a lot more time thinking about you than you've ever spent thinking about it. The next time you walk outside and the whole yard just goes quiet, remember what that silence actually is. It isn't fear. It's recognition. I've got one final question for you, and I really want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Think about your own daily routine. That same door you open, the same corner you walk around, that same time every morning. What do you think they've already figured out about you?